What's good, Allie? What's good? Can we do a sound check real quick? Sound check. Real quick. It is 1 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. Central. And it's Monday. You guys know what that means. It means we are live here on YouTube. Ready to have some fun. And hopefully learn some things as well. You can hear me? Okay, great. Great. How was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend? I don't know if you know, I don't think everybody celebrates Easter, but or recognizes Easter, but even then, still always good to have a good weekend. I only went to Six Flags. Very nice. Mine was cool. I had really good food too. Really good food. And it was great. What's good, Willow? What's good, Nicholas from Germany? Look at that. Look at all those snipers in the chat, man. Look at that. And we'll be... I haven't checked this in a while. Let me see something real quick. While we watch the indices. And what I have really is just a gap from Friday. Friday's gap. If you guys remember, on Thursday, I gave you some levels to look for. Oh no, Thursday we don't have YouTube. It was elsewhere. I presented the idea of 4136 or 4137. I don't remember. I think 36 was the high, but I think I gave 37. Either way, that was met on Friday. But leading into that, we created a gap. So I just have that marked up. I felt like that was a decent upside target once we kind of started to reach for that, and we're into that right now. So we'll kind of see what we do from there. And then on a 5-minute time frame, I just have a potential mitigation. I mean, we really screamed through that in during lunch. So, but yeah, I'm actually not entirely sure what we're gonna do for this afternoon session, so we'll just have to wait and see. But real quick, let me check this. The analytics. Check back later. You check back later. So the first 3 members signed up 14 days ago. So that means in another 15, 16, 17 days or so, those bronze, you could say brown too, the yeah, I meant bronze. The bronze snipers will change to silver. They will change to silver. So I'm ready for that. What's good? See trades from Munich, Germany. Very nice. Naruto, happy Monday to you as well. Tiago, what's good? Took my dog for a walk during lunch and a lot happened. Oh yeah, a lot did happen during lunch. I was hoping that this was going to be a short for the afternoon, but we ended up trading through that during lunch. So no go. No go on that. And that's one thing too, man. The right setup at the right time. I think this was a decent potential mitigation and gap short, but since this didn't happen at the at a time that I would want, you know, that's not ideal. So I was like, you know, screw it, I'll take it on a paper. So I took it on a paper and I was stopped out within like 5 minutes. And I was like, yeah, not surprised. Not surprised. Which is always nice. It's always nice being wrong and then like not losing real money, you know? That's always nice. But that's why I took it on paper, because that was 11:30, 11:35. I'm like, that's the middle of the lunch. I'm not taking that on a live account personally. And I'm glad I didn't. Instant stop outs are the worst. They're the worst. Because it's not like you were just casually wrong. It's like, no, you were absolutely wrong. Ridiculously wrong. And it's kind of like a slap in the face almost. I don't know. It's good, Ibranith. Happy Monday to you as well. Yeah, the Dow has made a new intraday high. So we have a high from London, and the Dow is above that. If you notice, right at the beginning of lunch, we came down, swept these two lows here, and then have rallied above a new high. The S&P hasn't done the same thing. The same high from London has not been met yet. So who even knows? And the Nasdaq, kind of a similar story. It came down, swept this low, and it's rallied, but it has not traded above the London high. So the only one that is the Dow. The Dow's the only one who's traded above London's high, and is still there actually. So should we buy for long term? Buy what for the long term? What are you talking about? Yeah. Stocks are definitely mixed. That's usual, but if we take a look at the Dow, Caterpillar is leading the way. Dow Inc., Home Depot, Nike up 1%. Worst performing stock today is Apple. Yeah, tech stocks not doing all that well today, which would translate over into the Nasdaq. Dirt. Google, Apple down, both almost 2%. Tesla down 1%. Microsoft down 1%. Intel and Facebook down almost 1% as well. So makes sense. Makes a little bit of sense why the Dow is up. And the Nasdaq is down. So the Nasdaq down 0.38%. Dow up like 0.15%. So I mean, it's up, but it's not up by much. So, but yeah, the Dow is our leader for today on the upside. So that's cool. But as far as what we've been doing recently, I think you can still find trades in this environment, but we are essentially back in the middle of this range that we've created from April 4th. What's good, Hassan? You enjoying that journal? I just wrote in mine for the Daily Stoic journal. So hopefully you guys have done some journaling today or recently. Hopefully the Daily Stoic journal, which I talk about all the time, I think it's an easy way to get into journaling. There's a lot of prompts, and if you pair that, I should have got this a long time ago, but if you pair that also with the Daily Stoic, okay, it's really good, man. And they go hand in hand. So you can like read a passage from the Daily Stoic, and then the same topic will be in the Daily Stoic journal. So You know, because people, when they get into journaling, they always ask me like, well, I don't know what to journal about. Well, I mean, they have prompts out there, man. You got to be proactive, you know? So be proactive. So yeah, anyway, this is done. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away as well. I was writing just before we started. I try to do it every day, at least not on Saturdays, or there's like 1 or 2 days out of the week that I don't have an alert for it, but I have an alarm that goes off at 11:15, so almost an hour ago, almost every day. So that way it's kind of a reminder to do that. So, but as far as longing NASDAQ for the long term, it's late as shit right now. I mean, look how late you're buying for the long term. Okay. I was buying back in this area down in here back in January, or it may have been November. I don't know. It's one of those two areas that, like the long term account, we were longing down in here. So would I buy for the long term after a move that's been happening for like months? You know, we've been rallying for a few months. Am I going to buy into that? Planning on holding for the long term? Probably not. Probably not. Look at that monthly, right? We're coming off of a couple of months higher. Now, obviously, you can see price action and you can go, well, yeah, it can continue. It could. You're right. It could. But with all the shit that's going on right now, you got all these countries moving away from the dollar, supposedly, right? You just got a bunch of shit. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to have another presidential election pretty soon. There's a lot of things going on in the world that I'm not going to talk about here because I don't want to get my shit banned or shadow banned or whatever. You know, I don't want to get in trouble on that end, but just do a little bit of research, man. Look at what's happening in the world, global events, global economics. There's just a lot of uncertainty. You know, banks failing, multiple banks failing. I mean, it's, you know, it ain't looking good for a few things. So there's that. Real quick, guys, if you could drop a like. Well, I mean, you definitely can. Drop a like real quick. It just helps us out for the algorithm. You know, helps us get in front of more people. It's free to do. And it is greatly appreciated. So thank you for that. Discipline equals freedom. What's good, Mohammed? Wednesday we'll have a tornado on the market with the news. Maybe. News is fun. Friday was fun. Right? 108.80 for the euro. Oh yeah. That's why I went on Twitter with that shit. Got almost 30,000 impressions on my tweet. You know, because of my book and everything. And there's always like, you know, there's always a bunch of people always have things to say, you know, every time I talk about my book. And that always like stirs the fucking pot, which is cool because it gets a lot of impressions. And I'm going to put out a video on that pretty soon. You know, like how to go viral on social media and what to do and how to capitalize and all that kind of shit. But I got to put that together. I've also got another lesson plan for you as well that I'm putting together. So that's one thing sometimes with me. It's like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to teach about. And then I'll get a flood of like 5 different things. I'm like, oh, I got to do a presentation on that. Got to do a presentation on this and this. You know, it's like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Being an educator sometimes is pretty crazy, but it's fun. It's fun. So again, we'll see what we do with this gap up in here. We'll see what we do. So again, that gap, we traded into it, off of it a little bit. It's like overnight London area. That's fine. So we completely obliterated that, and then we're back into it. So I want to see what we do from there. Personally, this morning, I thought we were going to take out Thursday's low. I thought we were going to do that. We did not. So, okay. That's fine. Monday Monday morning. Huge move during London and pre-market. Today, I guess, has just been a reversal, but we got that reversal during lunch. So when I see stuff like today, you know, I would say out of tune a little bit with what's going on. So as far as what I thought was going to happen, didn't happen. So, you gotta step back and reevaluate. And sometimes it's better to do nothing. And I know that's not what some people want to hear, because, well, the markets are doing something, we should be doing something and all that. Not always. Not always. But anyway, that's the thing, man. I used to talk a lot of shit on social media. And then I stopped doing that because I started proving it, like proving the skill set instead of just talking about it. But either way, people always want smoke. It's inevitable, man. People always want smoke. You call the low of the day in advance, right? And people still want smoke. It's fucking crazy, man. It's absolutely bonkers. Just the mindset that some people have. You know what I mean? Just the lack of abundance, the scarcity mindset is a real thing. Just a real thing. But what's good, Slow? What's good, Lewis? Morning to you, John. Keep going, brother. You're a life changer. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm going to teach for a long time. It's just not going to be forever. It's not going to be forever. One day this will likely come to an end. Not anytime soon. You can still become a member today, and we're still gonna have fun for a long time. But shit, dude, I'll be 30 by the end of this year. So anyway, just kind of flip-flopping towards or between the indices. And yeah, things are not looking too spicy. Too spicy. 1 to 9 close on that NASDAQ long. You went long on NASDAQ? I want to say actually the Dow presented a decent buy this morning down here. Like right there. If you look at that down candle there, that was sweet. I mean, you had some lows, swept, down candle, and it rallied. But again, I thought the S&P was going to run Thursday's a low, and the Dow had that same Thursday's low. And so like we were creeping in that direction, and that's kind of what I was expecting. Then we got that movement higher, and we didn't get what I wanted. And again, like, that's fine. Like, that's cool. I was wrong on that. But shit, dude. That was at like 8:55, 8:30. I mean, I'm not really fully awake at 8:30, So, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, good point, Willow. Good point. Dude. And, like, so here's one thing that I learned from John Maxwell, and I learned this from some other mentors as well, is when someone criticizes you, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with criticism, okay? I hand out criticism all the time, okay? But my criticism for students is constructive, okay? Like, if I tell you, well, why the fuck do you not read? You know what I mean? I'm criticizing you for not reading, but in a loving manner. Or it might be a little harsh to some people, but it's because I care about you and I want you to read, It's not like I'm saying, oh, you're fucking lazy and you're a bum. And like, I wouldn't say shit like that, you know? So what I'm saying is when someone criticizes you, you have to think about who that person is, right? And what they've done. So are they criticizing you to help you, or are they criticizing you because, you know, they don't have an abundance mindset, they don't have any accomplishments, don't have any followers, like they're a nobody. And again, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but you know, some people comment and they say shit and they've got like 25 followers. And I'm like, okay, bro, like you're hiding behind a profile picture, you have no followers, you provide nothing to the community. Like you're nobody. So why on earth would I ever listen to someone like that? You know what I mean? And so this shit doesn't bother me. This shit doesn't bother me. Oh, we're going to come find you. Okay. Do it. Do it. Every threat that I've ever been dealt, no one has ever followed through. I'm 29 years old. No one has ever followed through with the threats that they've given me. So stop saying it and come fucking do it. Right? So you guys, I know, will meet a lot of people that are like that. They criticize because you're doing better than them and they're just jealous or whatever. So why would you ever listen to someone like that? They offer nothing. They offer nothing. It's just a waste of time. And when you see that, that will really like bring you more tranquility, because you're like, I'm not fucking worried about you, bro. Who are you? So, just saying, you know, you come here, you learn price action, try to teach you about life as well. I may not be the greatest, you know, teacher on life and shit, but hey, real world examples. Okay, real world examples. But anyway, you guys were talking about the NASDAQ. So, I mean, hey, if you took that, then great. That was a, you know, I don't know where you got in at per se, but I mean, if you're in from this morning, then obviously it's probably somewhere down in here, which is solid, or even right there. That might be a mitigation right there at 10. Equalos, swept, traded up, bam, right into this up candle. Maybe that was your long. Wick entry probably. Instantly into your direction and above those highs. I mean, that would have been pretty good. I mean, I'm just now looking at the NASDAQ on like a 1 minute. I wasn't watching a 1 minute earlier like that. But if that's something you took, then nice. Very good. Very good. A little 5 minute imbalance there too. But again, I wasn't looking at NASDAQ. It's our laggard for today, so that would go against what I like when it comes to the divergence. Like that to me would disqualify the NASDAQ, and we would look for longs on Dow instead. Okay, so again, I'm not trying to criticize you. I think it was a good trade if you bought NASDAQ. I'm just saying, if it were me, I probably would have elected to go with the Dow instead. But a winning trade is a winning trade, so it was a good job either way. Happy Monday, Nikki. The Dow did, but I thought the same thing, so I didn't take it. Oh well, on to the next. Yeah, Allie, it's only Monday. I mean, it was only the morning session. Now we're at the afternoon, so it's cool. So real quick, shit. If we get distribution, I could probably see us go lower, because, you know, we've traded into that gap from last week, from Friday's news, right? The one that we called in advance, by the way, but we're not going to spend too much time on that. So if we go to the Dow, right, the Dow is above that morning's high. So to me, it's like, okay, well, if we've rallied and if we're going to get distribution above London's high, Oh, we traded into those highs as well. I just eyeballed that earlier. I didn't point it out to you, but I did eyeball those highs up here too. So we did trade into that. So not that I want to try and do this for you guys all the time. And this is, to me, I think this is kind of a shitty setup. But again, I'm just giving you my thought process. If we just slam lower, this may end up being a mitigation to go lower. But again, when it comes to placing a trade, okay, we can always have a good setup. Good setups form all the time. But just because a good setup is there, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good trade. So I like the setup if we short. Like if we bust through that, like this could be a mitigation to go lower, yes. But the problem with that, or what would be problematic for me, is that I don't see a high probability target. If this was equal lows, or if these lows here were still open, I would like that. The lows from this morning, that doesn't look like something that wants to get taken either. So that kind of disqualifies a potential setup here, at least on a 5-minute, because I would like a high probability target. If we were long, however, from down here, or to sweep on the lows, high of London would be good, partial, and then 10 minutes ago would be a decent partial as well. And since Dow is our leader, that's not the one we'd probably want to short. Okay. So, you know, people ask me all the time about trade plans and all that. I mean, dude, I'm like walking you through some ideas here. Yeah. Well, I used to argue with people all the time. Then I just stopped. Then I just started calling trades. And those people that I argue with, most of them, they don't call trades. They really just don't do much of anything. So, yikes. Just a bunch of consumers. They don't produce anything, they just consume. Which is fine. But if you're a consumer and you don't provide anything, you don't provide value. And that to me is just, I could never be that. I can never be someone that just takes and takes and takes. Okay? I'm a giver, man. I give you guys knowledge and my thought processes, and I give you targets that hit more times than they don't. You know, it's like, so I like, and it feels good to provide, you know, for people. And then people will still criticize. You know, it's always a thing, man. It's always a thing. Even if you do shit for free. Even for free. Oh, John, you sell a book. Yeah, but I've got how many videos on YouTube? How many live streams do we do? Like 4 every week, all for free? 250 something posts on my Instagram, all free. Stories on my Instagram, all free. Facebook, all free. All that shit is free. And people are gonna bitch that I sell a book for 36 bucks. Okay. But they got people out here charging like $200 a month for Discord. So $200 a month for Discord, or a $36 one time for, like, get the fuck out of here, man. Not that I wanted to rant today, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes people's logic is just flawed. It's just awful. Awful logic, dude. Just makes no sense, man. So anyway, so the Dow just kind of pulling off those highs here a little bit, and the Nasdaq's kind of rallying. Not that that means anything to me. It's just kind of something that I've noticed. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, you caught the mitigation, Imran. Okay. No, that was solid. That was solid. Let me see. Dollar pulling back a little bit as well. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. If you have a chart like I have with the 3 indices on it, if you look at them on a 5-minute time frame and you look at the lows, the low this morning, let me move my camera a little bit or move my face over here. The lows look very weird. Very weird. So there was a divergence essentially at our low today. What's good, Kateria? I am doing well. How are you doing? I'm blessed. Blessed. Life is good. I know sometimes I might rant, might bitch about a few things, but I'm trying to teach you things. If there's something in price that, like, if it's not doing anything or if it's not setting up for something, because like I'm not looking to do something right now, right? If we're just waiting for setups and stuff, I still at least want to talk to you guys like we're in the car or, you know, probably not at work because I do cuss a lot. So, you know, it may not be kind of like a work conversation, but, you know, just having a conversation with you guys to give you some more insight and ideas on just life in general and whatever may come up, you know, anything and everything. I think Willow had asked earlier about like what I believe about or my opinion on everything in the world that's going on with the dollar and you know countries moving away from the dollar. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. If you go into Google and you look up the like purchasing power history of the dollar, it's trash. Let me see if we can Google that real quick. Who is Joe Rogan's friend? He always like Google stuff for him. Jamie, I think. I don't watch Joe Rogan a lot. All right, look at this. Okay, look at this chart. Can we blow? What the fuck? I was trying to. All right. Well, I mean, they're all relatively the same anyway. This one I think goes to 2020. So, I mean, you can just see how the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or CPI, okay, whatever. The dollar has become dirt. I mean, the dollar's like a shit coin, dude. You know, it's like an altcoin right now. From the 20s to, you know, this is 100 years, right? So in 100 years, the dollar has lost like 90% of its value. So I could see why. Countries want to move away from the dollar. Dude, all we do is print. Like, I know we joke all the time, like, oh, we can print unlimited money and stuff. Like, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. Like, we really have just money that we print. We do it electronically, I'm pretty sure, as well. And one of the problems in the US, you know, inflation is not just where's my YouTube? I got so many tabs. The idea of inflation, okay, is not just Like it doesn't affect just one area. Okay. Like take minimum wage, for example. Minimum wage has stayed the same for a very, very long time, but everything gets more expensive, right? And because inflation isn't like bad necessarily. I mean, things, 2% I think is like the targeted rate of inflation that the Federal Reserve tries to aim for. And I could be wrong on that, but I'm just going off the dome here, okay? And so it's natural for things to go up in price over a long period, right? Houses do that, real estate does that, on a long-term basis. Okay, great. But one of the problems that the middle class and especially the lower class and the up and coming class, right, of people, workforce, whatever, is that if wages are not going up, right? Minimum wage, I'm pretty sure, is still $7.25, which is dog shit. Okay. Rent's going up, mortgages, whatever. Okay. People are being trapped bad. Okay. And inflation hits at like every level, but it all gets passed down to the consumers. Okay. So everything goes up for the consumer. But think about that. Do a little bit of math here. Wages stay the same, but the price of everything goes up. So in other words, you're fucked. You're done. Because you make the same amount or maybe even make a little bit more, but everything costs way more, right? So like, let's just say you got a raise at work. And I don't know how much all you guys make and everything and or whatever. Like we're just gonna keep it simple here. I'm not trying to get too complicated, but let's just say that you got a raise of like $5,000 a year. Okay. And some people are like, oh man, 5,000 extra a year. That's awesome. That's really great. Okay. Well, if you make about 45 grand a year, which I think is like the average or just below average, it sounds good in theory, like, all right, an extra 5 grand, cool. But if inflation is 8%, which is fucking not, it is way higher than that. It is way higher than that. There's no way. Side note, the problem with the inflation that they're reporting is that they change the products of what they're reporting. So shit that flies 20-30% or doubles in price, they're just not going to measure that. They're not going to include that in the measurement. They're just making up their own shit. You can look it up. Okay. It's not 8%. And even if it was, that percentage doesn't get passed down to the consumer, like from the perspective that is going to be 8% more for the consumer. It's going to be like 50-60% more for the consumer. Why is that? Because the cost, right, of the rent, of the transportation, of whatever, all this and that, it gets added on every level, and that makes it exponentially more expensive on the bottom level, right? Look at eggs, dude. Eggs went from what, $3-4 a dozen to fucking like $8 a dozen. What the fuck? Right? But imagine that, and that's just like one product. Like, oh, John, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. But imagine if something like that happens across the board. Across the entire board. The meat, the steaks, the chicken, the vegetables, everything. But wages stayed the same. And now you're going to the grocery store, right? So maybe, let's come back to that raise for a minute. All right, great. You got $5,000 a year in a raise, and you think that's great, but now you got to spend like $15,000 a year more on groceries and rent. So really, you just like lost 10 grand a year because your raise did not keep up with the cost of all of the expenses. Food, gas. Well, I mean, gas is not a crazy deal, but it's still a pretty big expense for some people. Rent, especially. So, rent and groceries. If that gets fucked, it's bad. Okay, it's bad. And look, I'm gonna explain one more thing to you too. And I really don't want you to take this the wrong way. And this is why I gotta preface things sometimes, because someone's always gonna take shit the wrong way. All right, I do not vote. Okay, I have the right to vote. I'm a veteran. I fought for the right to vote, honorably discharged. Okay, so you know, I have the right to vote, but I do not vote. Okay, so I'm not a Republican or a Democrat or a Libertarian or anything. If anything, I believe that everybody probably has something to contribute to the table. But you will not find a voter registry or anything from me personally, okay? Now I'll continue, okay? Because there's actually a pretty decent video that Tucker Carlson put out, I think last week, specifically talking about the dollar. So it's about, I think, 15 minutes long, maybe like 14 and a half minutes. But he talks about the dollar and how other countries are getting away from it and how that would be problematic for the US. So he made some pretty good points. Is he correct? I don't know. You know, did he throw his political jabs in there? Well, of course he did. It's Tucker Carlson. What do you expect? Okay. So yeah, he's going to talk shit about Democrats or the president or whatever. And that's just part of it. Okay. But the perspective that he gave about how if nobody's using dollars anymore and they come and all the dollars come back to the US, that would, you know, increase the inflation even worse. And so if wages and income stayed at the same rate of inflation, which I don't ever see happening, but if it did, then it wouldn't be that big of an issue. Like, let me put it to you this way. Let's just say you make 50 grand a year and, you know, you spend 50 grand a year, right? So you spend what you make, and that's across like your investments and mortgage, whatever. Like, and that's like, okay, cool. That's your plan. That's fine. So imagine if now you had to spend 60 grand a year, right? ChatGPT just opened up by itself. That's fucking scary. Let's say now that you need to spend 60 grand a year, but now you make 60 grand a year. So you see how like that wouldn't be that big of an issue because nothing has really changed. You spend more, but you're able to make more, so you don't lose power. You can still buy groceries, you can still afford rent, you can still afford to you know, put money in your trading account if you want to, whatever. Lewis, welcome to tier 2. It's about time. But welcome to tier 2, man. Glad to have you. Man's finally got that sniper next to his name. I like it. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that it's the wages, it's people's income that is a problem. Okay, so think back to the 90s. I was born in 1993. Okay, in the 80s and the 90s, hell, even in the 70s, you could have someone, head of the household, okay, with one income that would be able to support a partner, children, and, you know, be fine. Okay? Because that's just how things were back then. It was cool. But in today's world, it's almost impossible for regular income, you know, like regular middle class, lower class to do that. Okay. So I'm not talking about someone who's like a, you know, business owner or someone who's high up in the corporate world. Okay. You know, if you make a shit ton of money, I'm not talking about that. Okay. I'm talking about regular 9 to 5 people, blue collar people. Okay. Where one source of income is no longer enough for a lot of people. It's just not enough. It's not. So now you have situations where the head of the household and the partner have to have income, or the sole income provider has to have 2 forms of income, 3 forms of income, just to like make ends meet. And that to me is a problem. That's a bad problem. Now, me, I've always been, not always, but in, I would say the last 5 years or so, have, you know, I'm someone who now believes in multiple sources of income, even if you have more than enough. Okay. Because I believe that, you know, you should set yourself up for later in life. So that's just me. But now it's like a requirement for people. Like, oh, you want to make ends meet? You want to barely get by? Well, now you have to have 2 jobs, or you have to have a main job and like 1 or 2 side hustles. Like, you have to now. Like, that's fucked, bro. That's fucked. And I definitely feel bad for people, for the majority of people in that situation. So do I want other countries to get away from the dollar? I mean, I just don't want America to crumble, dude. I don't want to go to the store and see toilet paper gone again, right? Because that happened a couple years ago. Whole fucking aisle at the store. Entire aisle gone. None. No toilet paper left whatsoever. Right? And then like almost no paper towels either. I don't know what's up with that shit, but there was nothing available. Right? But imagine if you had that situation, or maybe there was like 1 or 2, but toilet paper went from like $20 for a bunch of rolls to like $40 for a bunch of rolls. You know what I mean? So you go to the cash register and you're just getting raped, dude. Like financially just raped on price because inflation hits like that bad. Dude, if you I don't know if it was Turkey. It might have been Turkey. Look at some of the inflation rates for these other countries. Not that I wanted to get into all this shit today, but price ain't doing anything, at least on a 5 minute. Maybe on a 1 minute, but I'm not looking at that. There was let's see, inflationcalculator.com. That's just for the US. It was I think it was Turkey. Their shit was like 60, 70, 80%. Like, it was ridiculous. Let me see. According to tradingeconomics.com, this is the first time I've ever been on this website, so I don't know how credible it is. But they're reporting United States 6%. Get the fuck out of here. Argentina 102%. Turkey 50%. Russia 11. UK 10. Australia 8. Italy 8. Okay. So like some of those aren't too bad, but Argentina 102%. Turkey 50%. Holy shit, dude. Wow. That's high. You know what I mean? That is high. John, you over there looking at bear flags, bro? Or bull flags? What's going on, man? What's going on? Bull flag? I don't know. I have no idea. But Limitless said if you make 50K a year, bro, that's not livable no more with rent. So yeah, that's my point. That was the point I made earlier. Is that in today's world, right? April of 2023, and even in 2022, and probably 2021, most people are not able to survive on just one income. So we're not even talking about thriving here. That's a different story. I'm just talking about regular, making ends meet plus a little bit more for like savings and investment. Okay. Personal opinion. That it's fucking impossible to thrive without at least, at a minimum, like 2 incomes. At a minimum, like 2. And it didn't used to be that like that. It didn't used to be that way. But it is that way. And that's terrible. That's terrible. Look. Let me tell you something, okay? And this is in the Bible too. I think it was Moses when he was leading people to Jerusalem. I could be wrong. I think it's in there. And there was a situation and some people were being lazy, and it was either Moses or someone else, and they were like, look, if you don't work, you don't eat. Simple as that. If you don't work, you don't get to eat. Right? And I think that's an amazing concept. Right? I don't think laziness should be rewarded. I don't think so. Okay? Now, if you're mentally disabled or physically disabled or you're sick, obviously much different story, right? But I'm saying if you're capable of working, if you're capable of doing things and you don't, you should not be rewarded. But at the same time, you should not have to work all day, every day, just to get by. Just to get by. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. If you work all day, every day, you should have the bare minimum plus a lot more. In my opinion. That seems right to me. But doing the most and barely getting by, that's no way to live, dude. It's no way to live. And part of that reason is why I felt like shit when I was working, because that's essentially how it went. Until I had to smarten up and go, John, what the fuck? How have you been working 3-4 years and you don't have any money? Like, what's going on here? I had nothing to show for it. That's when I had to wake up and I was like, dude, there is something that I am doing wrong. There is something that I'm doing wrong. And I had to figure that shit out. The S&P is higher right here. Just so you know. So the S&P is higher. Dow lower. NASDAQ kind of lower, I guess. We'll keep an eye on this. I'm not just talking to you like, whatever. I'm trying to do both, okay? I'm trying to multitask here. What was I even saying? Working, you can be the best performer and they can let you go. Oh, yeah. That's right. Oh, yeah. Long time ago. Yeah. I was so sick of it. I was like, man, I come home, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I fucking smell like restaurant, like I should have more than what I have. You know, I had like $100, $200 in my hand. And I'm going, I need more than this, dude. I can't even afford shit. Feet hurt, feet swollen from standing and walking all day. And I got to put like a third of that in my gas tank and then do it all again tomorrow. Like, what? This is crazy. Oh, and then don't even get me started on what's that shit called? Groceries, right? Like, oh, I got to work for 3 days just to get X amount of groceries. Like, this is horrible. And that's when I had to wake up. You know, wake up and go, okay, you got to change, bro. Something is inherently wrong with just everything. But it was a mindset thing too. But at the same time, back then, so I mean, dude, we're talking like 2012, 2013. So we're talking 10, 11 years ago, okay? I wasn't into personal development. I wasn't into reading. You know, no one was really like teaching me about financial literacy. I mean, my dad did to a pretty good extent. But not like what I know now. So I try to pass things along to you guys, man, because I'm telling you, I've been broke before and it's not fun. If anything, I think there was more emotional damage, LOL, due to the lack of security, due to the lack of peace of mind. Right? And then there's more battles on the way to wealth too. You work hard, you save a bunch of money, you get like, let's just say your first 2 or 3 grand to your name. Bam, car, mechanic, 2 grand to fix. And you're going, son of a bitch. I just worked and saved and everything only to give it all back to the mechanic. Been there too. Not in a very, very long time, but I've been there too. And it sucks. You got to get past that too, man. You got to get past it. Do I think it's the right time to invest into crypto? Dude, I'm terrible at crypto. I've lost a shit ton of money in crypto. Okay. More than I would like to admit. I'm not good with it. I'm not good with crypto, man. So I'm not the one to ask about crypto. I would answer your question if I could, but I'm telling you, you do not want to listen to me when it comes to cryptocurrency. You just don't. I can't help you there. I'm sorry, but I'm a man of limits, okay? I have flaws and limitations. So that is one of them. You get some breathing room and then bam. Yeah, I know. I know. It'd be like that. So, oh my God, it's been an hour. I've been ranting to you guys for an hour. Time flies. I would like to see if we get really violent movement to the downside. I think that would signify that this orange box would be a mitigation to go lower. Because again, imbalance within a gap, distribution, right? Given the Dow going lower and the S&P going higher, that would signify distribution. So the only thing that we would need is a big run lower, like an obvious, see these 2 up candles here? Like that's volatile, that's violent, it's quick and dirty. Like that's, you know, that's a nice move to the upside. I don't want that same equivalent move here, but I would want to see us close below this low, probably. And then if we leave an imbalance, ideally between now and then, if we get that, like if we create an imbalance here or some shit like that, then that would be okay to short. On a paper, I have a paper account here, okay? So not trade advice, okay? Read the disclaimer. But I could see something like that happening. But I'm not trying to predict like every single move in the market. But you know, if this is distribution, if that's a bearish signature, then that may be shortable, is what I'm saying. So I have to give it a few more candles, obviously. But if we end up trading higher and above that, then I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, we'll watch that. I mean, we could go over into other stuff, but I don't feel like hopping around a bunch of places. And I don't want to confuse you guys either. So we'll give this some time. The Dow being weaker, that may end up being a better short, but on the day, it looks like our leader, so that may not be a good idea. NASDAQ hasn't really done anything. So, but now do you kind of see like why we wait? Because this still could go higher. It still could. This is the S&P on the SPY, actually the ETF. So, you know, this morning we created that huge gap, traded up, came down, and then came up again. So we've filled in quite a bit of that gap. Dow, same thing. Thursday's high, or close rather. Sorry, Thursday's close, and then today's open, dropped, rallied, and then you obviously see those lows swept here, back into the gap, open actually, and then higher. So you do see that, and then the triple Qs has also traded back into the majority of this gap. So maybe there's a possibility that we may short. But at the end of the day, we never truly know. That's what Mark Douglas would say if he was here. He'd go, you never truly know. He's right. But higher time frame context, maybe so. We would just need price action to follow suit with that. And if it doesn't follow suit with that, then we do nothing. We do nothing except give John a like on YouTube, you know? Or something to that effect, which is great. I got the stop loss is my entry hoodie on today. Oh, because I don't think you guys can see that like normally, but I got it on today, which is available at the store, johnfibonacci.com. But YouTube doesn't have it anymore. They don't have my store connected. They connected to my store and then they said fuck off. So I don't understand that. Got it in the phone case too, but that's been here for a while. So I'm rocking the hoodie and the phone case today, and that's that. That is that. The mugs I have for display, the tumblers for display as well. I don't really use that, but I have it. So, oh, this is looking a little bit rough, man. Looking a little bit rough. So if we don't do anything today, at least you got some insight. At least you got to hear me speak about a bunch of random stuff today. So hopefully you get some value. I try to aim for providing value on every stream, no matter what. No matter what. But we'll likely give this 30, maybe 40 more minutes and then call it a wrap. So the down candle that I have marked, it looks like that is supporting price at the moment. So usually a mitigation, like if we're going to play a mitigation, usually it's going to set up pretty obviously and pretty cleanly. Okay. But you're not really getting that here. You're not really getting the cleanliness of a mitigation setup. So if it's not bearish, I don't want to take a short. Would I look at GJ? I mean, I guess we could look at GJ for a second. The NASDAQ is higher there. The Dow is still kind of like not really giving any clear direction. But it did just give us some equal lows, though. So that may be of importance later for scalping purposes. 33,684. That may be important later. Oh, and there's a gap below that too. So you may want to note that on your chart too. A little gap below equal lows for the Dow Jones. You may want to have that there too. The S&P, however, did not create those equal lows here. Or let me see. Yeah. 1243 to 102. Yeah, 1240. Yeah, see. So we don't have equal lows there. But I do want to try and keep today's stream at least on a 5-minute. I know sometimes we have the 1 minute up here, but not today. Not today. So, yeah, we'll go take a look at GJ. Yuck. It's not yuck. I don't know. I don't really look at it. Very violent. In March. A lot of wicks on the downside and a lot of wicks on the upside as well. I remember GJ being the most volatile pair out of all of the currency pairs. And yeah, looks like it's still that way. I think if it were me, I wouldn't touch it today. If anything, I may be bearish on that, but I could be wrong. Because we have the high from February 28th wrecked on the 4th of April. We came off of that into a daily imbalance, and now we're trading back up into this candle. I think one of the issues with GJ though is the fucking pips, dude. Like, I'd have to water down my lot size trading this cross bear. It's inside that 1 hour imbalance, but it doesn't really give bearish vibes on that. Doesn't really give bearish vibes. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea. Weekly, it looks like it's just within this very large range. Looks like it's in that gap again as well on the weekly time frame. And, you know, daily, somewhat similar story. Still a fairly large range. You're in the upper end of that. But I don't know, man. This daily just looks like complete doo-doo. I don't like it. Got buys this morning, but you want to see shorts? I'd like to see shorts as well. Little flag up here too. But I mean, again, this is hindsight. What the fuck? Can you guys still hear me? My shit was lagging for a second. Can we do a sound check real quick? All right, thank you, Seven. Thank you, Allie. Appreciate that, Prime. It's always good. Let's get a sound check. This is hindsight. I have not looked at this at all. That does look like a mitigation from this morning, but that's just a simple low, high, lower, low. This to me didn't really run stops. I mean, it did fill an imbalance on the 1 hour, I guess. Respected that, which is cool. And then that 15-minute, which is also seen on a 5-minute too. Okay, nice conviction move to the upside and then lower. But the problem with that is this movement lower is coming off of that 1 hour imbalance. So I probably would have been reluctant to long that. Unless that's the higher one. Shit, I can't remember. Yeah. So that mitigation, it was a nice play, but it's coming off of that 1 hour imbalance, and I wouldn't have wanted to trade that. So I would have missed it. But definitely a good play, though. Looking back at it, in hindsight, it was cool, but that's probably not something I would have traded. And if it were me, I wouldn't trade GJ unless we had a clear direction on British pound futures and then yen futures as well. There's a lesson I did a very long time ago on that. It's about like interest rate differentials and stuff like that. So I would want to, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would go look at the interest rates for all the currencies, find the one with a huge differential, and then wait for a setup on the currencies that aligns with that differential, and then go from there. So that may sound like a lot to some people, like, oh my God, John, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, if British pound has a weak interest rate and then maybe yen has a strong interest rate, again, hypothetical, right? Then I would want to see bearish setups on GBP, JPY, right? But that would also have to mean bearish British pound and a bullish yen. So it's kind of a lot of work, but it's only a lot of work if you're lazy. And I know I can say that because I can speak from experience. So, but yeah, there's like a 60-minute lesson for you I just did in 5 minutes or less. And that's what I would do if I had to trade GJ. I wouldn't trade the price action alone. I would need a little bit more juice on it. because I would want to be in alignment with, you know, something on the higher time frame. Okay. So coming back to the S&P, we didn't get the move lower, right? That down candle here is actually supporting price. So to me, there's no bearish setup. So there's no bearish trade. So I'm not taking any shorts on that. So we're just gonna have to wait. And the NASDAQ trading slightly higher. So we'll see if the NASDAQ comes up for this morning's low, or London's high, excuse me. We'll see if we get that. But yeah, the 1 minute is just not looking too great. Nice movement higher, almost no retracements, and it's just drifting higher. So, you know, so then there's the argument, right? Well, John, okay, well, we're not shorting. Well, then that's long then. It's like, well, okay, well, shit. Where? Price is now making a new intraday high. So are we going to try and chase this long right now? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So now we got to wait. We got to wait, mate. Let me look at the stocks one more time. I'm just eyeballing Wells Fargo. Just eyeballing it. Friday's going to be bonkers for Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and JP Morgan, I think. There's a bunch of earnings for these bank stocks. And I know we mentioned this earlier, right? There's been a lot of bank failures and stuff. So it's just going to be even something more crazy to pay attention to. Let me see if we can pull this up real quick. Friday the 14th. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So this website is nasdaq.com/market tech activity/earnings. Because I don't think you guys can see the web address. It's right here. nasdaq.com/market tech activity/earnings. Okay. And if you go to the earnings calendar, which again is at the link, if we go over here to Friday, April 14th, then you can see UNH, United Health Group Incorporated. I'm pretty sure they're in the Dow Jones. But anyway, like I was saying, so the bank, so you got PNC, they're a bank, right? I've never been to them before, but I know it's a bank. PNC, Citigroup, BlackRock, Wells Fargo, and JP Morgan. And this is all pre-market. So Friday is going to be bonkers for some of these stocks. Now, mind you, full transparency, I longed Wells Fargo. Okay. So I have like one options contract for Wells Fargo. I think it's like 5 or 6 months out of where we are now, but I'm basically long on Wells Fargo. If you guys remember, I talked about Wells Fargo and how I would long under 36.54, because the first one, the one that I took, which, you know, unfortunately is in a little bit of drawdown right now, it was right under this low, like coming off like right in there, right? I longed. Now I told you guys, I don't think it was on YouTube, but I said if we take this low, I would long again. And we went down there and I totally forgot. So I didn't have an alert set. I didn't check my stocks account because I don't check it every day. I wasn't watching it. I was like, you know, whatever. So I let that go. I missed that boat. So it's fine. However, I'm eyeballing it the last couple of days because look, we came into that, rallied, and not a very great rally, but a rally nonetheless. And then we traded back into this, this really should be gray, gap here, right? So we basically smacked that old low, 36.52 again, and that gap. And then that next day, up day, Thursday was an up day, and then today's an up day as well. So that's not bad. That's only 36.50 to 38.50. I mean, it's nothing phenomenal, but you know, that's some super high time frame stuff. And then here's that E for the earnings on Friday the 14th. The sun means pre-market. So that means there may be a gap down on Wells Fargo, there may be a gap up, or it may not really do anything. I don't know. But I'm excited to see. Is the trade going to go my way, or am I going to get shat on? I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. But not investment advice. But currently, I am long Wells Fargo. And just for full transparency, I think it's October 4th or somewhere in October is the expiry. And I want to say it's a $40 strike price. So basically, all in all, I would want Wells Fargo to trade above 40. Ideally. Okay. Plus, we got some gaps in there as well. But look, I'm not the greatest at teaching options. To be honest, I don't know all too much about options. I really don't. I've tried studying them before. There's a lot of shit, man. You got Greeks and theta, time decay. You got delta, the amount it's going to move per every $1 share. Like, it's a bunch of shit. And honestly, I just never got into all the details. I mean, literally, it's a lot. It is a lot of stuff. And I don't know how to do the calculations and all this. Dude, it's just too much for me. It's just too much for me. So I keep simple long-term call options. That's what I stick to. So basically, it's the monthly gap, or excuse me, imbalance. Below June last year, below that low. So I'm thinking run on stops, rebalance price, and fucking run. Right? Like full sprint. Just banger, 45, 50, I don't know. That's essentially what I'm thinking, but that takes time. Okay, it takes some time. Some of these moves in here, it took 49 days to go up a little bit. It ain't no day trading shit. You can day trade options, but not the one I took is not a day trade. So, but that's the idea of some long-term trading is buying below old lows. But given the last hour and a half of what we talked about with the dollar and inflation and banks and all that shit, I really don't know what's going to happen. If we just completely get wrecked to the downside, I'm probably wrong, and I'll probably just have to take the L on that. So nothing more to it than that. Ew. It's just mixed now. Because now the Dow has done a whole lot of nothing, really. The S&P sliding higher. It is at the higher end of that gap. Again, that's really only going to be seen on a 15 and a 5-minute time frame from news last week. Okay, so it's just a gap. We traded into it, through it, and we're just back into that here. Plus, there's an imbalance right there as well. So I'm just kind of seeing like what we do, see if we get distribution. Because we might. And then the Dow looks weak. So we'll watch it on a 1-minute time frame. That's fine. Look at those equal lows there. Don't they just look like they want to get wrecked? Don't they just look juicy? Don't they? You tell me. You tell me. Oof. Sometimes these Dow small time frames look like garbage, but you can't deny those lows are pretty equal. Even on the E-mini, you have an imbalance here as well, right there. Okay, so whether you're looking at the micros or the E-mini, same thing. Just the micros, well, not the same thing, but I mean, they're relatively the same. It's just micros has a gap, and E-mini has the imbalance here. So as far as risk reward goes, shit, it had to be really tight if you're going to take that imbalance. It had to be really tight. That I'm not a fan of. But yeah, so we'll watch this for a minute. We'll see how that goes. And yes, John, it is. The strongest, at least today for the upside, yes. But you can't argue equal lows or equal lows. Whether your asset is the strongest or not, lows are still lows. And it has been consolidating. Look at this whole afternoon session from 12 to where we are now. It's done nothing except leave equal lows. That's it. The S&P trading higher, NASDAQ higher too. That may end up being a buy for the Dow. Like if we take these lows, that might be the old whoop-de-whoop to go higher. But just keep in mind, I don't know. You're buying after price has already rallied a lot, so just be careful. Just be careful. I mean, look, we are on a paper account, so we could. I would just feel better if we didn't take these highs already. I'd feel better about longs if we didn't do that. So, guess we will see. As far as the mitigation goes, the only, like the trade that took stops here, we would look at this. So then we would look at that as a potential mitigation. So there's some overlap there, but those are different time frames. So this is like a 1 minute time frame. And then this mitigation is a 5 minute time frame. So all I've marked is that on the 1 minute time frame, all I've marked is the gap and the imbalance, and then this one too. I'm just watching to see if we trade up into that imbalance and then rip lower. No, the overlap is better when they actually overlap. This doesn't overlap. You see how the imbalance is higher? The imbalance is up here. The mitigation's lower than that. Oh, there's that imbalance right there. Boom. Trading into that. So I want to see it trade lower from here. And then I'm going to screenshot that right there. Actually, I should have screenshotted it into that. I want to see that imbalance hold to drop. Those lows are looking too scrumptious. They're looking too scrumptious. Oh. It's lunchtime anyway. Shit, I haven't eaten all day. Haven't eaten all day. Oh no, I lied. I had a small breakfast. But that was 5 hours ago. Over 5 hours ago. So, we'll come back to that. Ooh. Yeah. Other indices are trading higher. So if I was being super aggressive with this, which again I'm not, but if I was, that would have been a short with like a stop like right there for those lows. I mean, because it's hard as fuck to frame a 1 to 3 on that, or like early of an entry with that like target just based on that imbalance alone. That's hard to frame a 1 to 3. So again, I'm not doing anything with that, but that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see us respect that imbalance here and then trade lower. But I'm not taking a trade here. Dow's our strongest index, not what I want to short. But I still would like to see that though. This imbalance, at least as of right now, is being respected. But yeah, I got to figure out lunch pretty soon. It's not healthy to not eat, you know? I did the, hopped on the scale yesterday. It said 178.8. So, which is fine. I mean, I lost a couple of pounds recently, but I don't want to keep losing weight though. I don't want to keep losing weight. Water? Yeah. I have some of that too. I got my water bottle right here. The Niken PMag. Pomage. However the fuck you say it. It's got a filter on it and everything. I actually just replaced this filter as well. Alkaline water. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, big fella. Oh, look at that shit. Look at that down candle. Look at that down candle. I want to say Wells Fargo is part of the Dow as well. I think I might have to double check that. I could be wrong. Oh, yeah, see, I am wrong. It's not. I lied. It's not part of the Dow. Oh, that's fine. The shit bank anyway. Whatever. I'm not worried about it. Well, it says I like it. Yeah, man. Siva put me on to the water bottle last year. I think it was early last year. Oh, you know what's on the table. You know what's on the table. 130, that fucking 30-minute candle too. Look at that shit. Look at that. It's about to reach for that. Scrumptious looking lows. Watch, it'll fucking troll me and trade higher too. Only because I said it. But I would not want to be long right now though. 33,680, little 80 level there too. Bam, there's those lows. Look at that shit. Bam, there's 33,680. Look at that shit. Look at that. Right into that fucking gap. Below the equal lows, coming off of that 1 minute imbalance. Look at that. You think those people in my fucking comments can outline some shit like that? Fuck them. Look at that shit. I'm gonna screenshot that as well. Nice little scalp right there. But see? That ultra tight stop. That fucking... I told you I didn't take this, so I ain't gonna take credit for it. But I told you, like, that last candle, like when we screenshotted it at first, with a stop like right there, that was a fucking tight stop too. But that 1 to 3 isn't until like down here. So like to me, that's kind of a... Yeah, I think it can still happen, but if this imbalance were higher and we were able to frame it differently, that would have been a lot better. But still though, watching price, right, trade from imbalance to imbalance, right, from imbalance to this gap. E-mini, same shit, imbalance down here, imbalance right here. Actually, this one had a higher one right there. Look at that. Fucking kissed right into that. Look at that. Come on, man. Come on. Very, very little drawdown on that. And you notice how that 131 candle, remember I said we respected that imbalance? I didn't like how we opened above it, but we still respected that right there. And then look at that. Shoo. Straight down. So, you know, some people just don't provide value, and then some people, I think, do. I think some people do provide value. Let's look at the S&P real quick. Similar move, but barely did anything. NASDAQ, similar move, barely did anything. It's dirt. Fucking dirt. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if this continues lower. It could. It definitely could. Oh, that was a 5-minute gap too. No wonder. No wonder. Damn. Why didn't we look at that? Why did y'all let me stray from the 5-minute time frame down to the 1? I was like, yeah, we're gonna stay on the 5-minute time frame today, and we fucking went down to the 1 minute. It's your fault, man. It's all your fault. I have like almost 30 people on here. You should have held me. Held me accountable. It's one of the Trade House core values. Did you guys see that video, by the way? Did you guys watch that video? I put out a video yesterday. Maybe Friday. Shit, I don't remember what day it was. What day was that? Hey. Ooh, that was loud as fuck. I put this video out the other day. This one. Did you guys watch it? 11 likes, man. We got to get that up. We got to get that up. But yeah, we did, we made it, or I made it, into an acronym. Trade House, right? Teamwork, respect, accountability, determination, excellence, honor, organized, uniqueness, student, and environment. So if you have not watched that, go check it out. It's only 8.5 minutes long. So, fire vid, thanks, man. Thanks. It was really like a 14-minute video, but then I clipped down all the extra shit. all the extra stuff I clipped. So get us a little bit more time. Nice little down candle right there. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So let's I am heavily interested to see what we do from here. Because either this is going to be a sweep on those lows to go higher, or we've made our high of the day and now we're just going to fucking drop. I don't know. But that's not a bad reaction from up there. May have to go clip that. Am I recording too? Oh, yes, I am. So I might go back and clip this area in here. And probably put that out as a YouTube video, because no one really comes back to watch a 2-hour live session recording. I don't think people do that. But I think you'd rather watch like a 12-minute, or let's see, this would be maybe like a 20-minute video. I think you would rather watch a 20-minute video than a 2-hour video. I'm pretty sure. I only say that because that's what I would want to do. I'd be like, fuck a 2-hour video. Show me like 20 minutes. Show me in 20 minutes. Oh, okay. Okay, S&P. Giving us a little bit more juice, at least on that 5-minute time frame. Kinda. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you know that I'm tempted to just extend what we did earlier. I'm really tempted to just keep that there. And to keep the same idea. Trade below that low, rally up into that. Dump. I'm almost tempted to keep that same idea. What do you guys think? Now hitting the 5-minute mitigation here. So let's pretend for a minute. I know we do that a lot here. If we had shorted that, that low would be a partial, and then right now would be a partial too. Just in case this ends up being a buy. That'd be a partial. Yeah. And I know some people may not agree. It's not like a big fucking move. I mean, it ain't the greatest move in the world, but hey. I'm teaching you how to expect equal lows to get swept. Matter of fact, there's a video coming out in a couple hours on that too. Expecting, I think it's predicting runs on liquidity, something like that. That's coming out at 3:15, which is a clip from Friday. I clipped down and did some editing to Friday's clip. Okay, so we did it. Very, very similar story here. Okay, so look, we'll only give it a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna go. I'll close it out with this. Okay, I'll close it out with this. I want you to really look at what we did here. Okay, if we take all this shit off, okay, what did we outline first? The first thing we outlined was the lows, right? We saw that form, and we had that on our charts immediately as soon as we saw it, right? Then what do we do? Then we went, okay, well shit, what's below that? Is there anything below that? Yeah, gap, imbalance. Okay, great. Right? So we may not target the equal lows. We may want to target below that. Okay. So what are we waiting for? Well, there's got to be some sort of setup, right? Okay. So the market rallies up. I mean, it made a high right here, but what the fuck? What is over here? I mean, nothing that's really there. I don't see anything there. Maybe you do. I don't. Okay. Bam. Market leaves something behind here. Look at this move here. Look in this gray box. Okay? Look at that. What's within that? The only markup, the only one that we have, right? You want to know how I do these fucking reels, right? How do we do those reels? It's this shit. Imbalance on the way to equalos. Okay? We've traded below that, right? And then this spot right here at the low, right? That is where your imbalance fills and runs into the mitigation as well. And I said that would be a partial right there. Okay? So potentially in partial, buying or buying high, selling high, buying low. Okay? I know we're losing viewers, but hey, you guys fucking dipped out at the wrong fucking time. Dipped out at the lesson time. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. I ain't mad at you, but I'm just saying. So, not bad. Okay, not bad intraday studies. I know there's not a lot going on. Okay, we didn't get a lot of movement in here. There wasn't really much opportunity until a little bit later. That's why I said we had to wait. You got to wait sometimes. And look at that. Patience is rewarded with some good setups. Okay, so we'll wait a little bit longer. So at this point, again, I think that mitigation still might be a stretch. It doesn't look like it's going to leave us an imbalance that we may want to come back for. So I may just not end up really using that at all. At least on the 5 minute, we may not end up using that. But that's okay. That's okay. But that is what I'm going to leave you guys with. I'm going to have some lunch before I got to go do some other things. So be blessed. If you guys got some value, make sure to like the video, man. Make sure to like it. I would greatly appreciate that. It shows me that you're paying attention as well versus just having it on in the background. And yeah, so we'll be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll be here tomorrow, right here on YouTube. All right, be blessed. Have an amazing rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow.